Look who I just managed to wander across. It's Lindsey Turrentine. Thank you very much for spending time with us. Of course, from CNET. Lindsey, you've had your ear to the ground. You've been looking at the trends. You've been looking at the products. For you, what would be the number one takeaway from CES?
There is a voice control of everything. That's what we're taking away from CES. This is the year, it's really the year of Amazon and Alexa, but lots of other voice control attempts as well. We're seeing voice control in house robots, toasters, because CES, that was the headline that we wrote, toasters because CES. We're seeing voice control in cars and linking between Alexa as a platform and cars. It's really cool. It's this new layer of communication above the smartphone screen. We kept saying, oh, the smartphone's it. This is how we're going to control everything for the rest of our lives. And it turns out, no, we're getting rid of the screen altogether and we're just using our voices.
Now, we knew that there was going to be voice control in a lot of things. All the pre-CES releases said, look, we've included a little bit of intelligence, and intelligence is code for an assistant, either Cortana or Google or Alexa. But I was a little taken aback by how much Alexa has ruled. I mean, yes, you do hear about Microsoft's Cortana, you do hear about Google Now, but those devices, everything from the toaster to the headphones, they all built on Alexa. Why do you think Amazon has such a leg up in this space?
Well, I think Amazon did two smart things. One, they got started really early. And two, they actually built a piece of hardware that's basically represents Alexa. I mean, you think of Alexa as the AI layer, right? Just like Google Assistant is the AI layer for Google Home. And Siri is really just as sophisticated when it comes to acting as this interface that you can just plug in your iPhone and say, hey Siri, and make this stuff happen. I'm sorry if I just did that to you. I'm sorry. But Amazon had this physical object that represented what was going on here, and I think it really helped people understand the promise of voice activation. And now there are a lot of people who can't really see the difference between Alexa and the actual Echo device. Now that Alexa is moving into lots of other objects, I actually think that's going to help the rest of the industry, because people are going to start to understand that Alexa is just the operator, and then that'll trickle out to other platforms as well.
There is a theme that's tied to this, and that's the security of the Internet of Things. It has been laughable. The last 2-3 years, we all talk about the Internet of insecure things, or the Internet of owned things, the Internet of hacked things. But what we saw here, at least from companies like ADT and a few of the larger manufacturers, is they're now realizing they suck at security. They're horrible. They don't get security. So they are relying on partners like Amazon or like a third party who does IoT security specifically to give security to their devices. And I'm not sure, do you think that's a good trend or a bad trend to outsource the security section of my connected device?
Okay, well, I think that your devices are only as secure as their weakest partnership, right? So if we have strong partners who can provide that, I actually think that that's a smart thing, because they're going to. It is in. When you think about those big platform developers, right? The Googles and the Amazons and the Apples, they care so much and they vet so seriously their partnerships, and I think that it's a smart move, for sure.
All right, I want to talk about something else that we've seen here. Of course, there's the cars, and I know it's a little ad nauseum. We've heard a lot about them, but this has actually been a good year for autonomous vehicles. It's not just this could be a product. It's Ford and Volvo and BMW coming out and saying, this is a product. We are working out the last couple of kinks. How close do you think we are to actually having something that someone can go to a dealership and buy and be absolutely secure that it's going to work properly?
I actually think we're there now. I mean, Tesla essentially does this, and it's not completely autonomous, but it essentially is. And I think that as that experience kind of trickles out into the world, people become more accepting of it. So it exists now. I mean, we've got lane sensors on all kinds of cars, and I think that it's just this incremental progress. And the reason that autonomous cars are so successful here is because everybody understands them now. There's a level of comfort. Uber's done a lot of this work out in the industry. I think that, a broad spectrum of drivers aren't going to be completely comfortable with it yet, but they it's just sneaking in, and auto manufacturers, mainstream ones like Ford, are now ready to just take advantage of that.
Let's talk a little bit about Ford, because we stopped by their booth yesterday. We had a very nice conversation with a man who you could say is the father of their autonomous or assisted driving division. And what he was saying was Ford absolutely will have a car ready by 2021. So they know it's going to go to market. They've got the hardware. They know the hardware configuration that they want. And it actually looked good. It didn't look space age. There wasn't a big hat sitting on top of the car. And he said, now it's just a matter of us getting to the point that automakers feel comfortable with releasing this into the world. And it brings up this interesting point because there's this influx of money from VC coming into Silicon Valley for all the companies who want to get into autonomous driving. And yet there are companies like Ford, the established players, who say, you know you're making a car, right? You can't just release it and have a couple of crashes and say, well, that was beta, and fix it. Do you think that disconnect between Silicon Valley and old Detroit is going to become more pronounced as the autonomous car trend continues?
I do. I actually, most of the major manufacturers have R&D outfits in Silicon Valley. Not to make too fine a point of it, but that thinking and that there's sort of this industry level collaboration about how this is going to work, and there's a need for that because there's a policy level to this, right? So I actually think that the established manufacturers are pretty far into this game. I think that they have a huge leg up because they, like you said, they make cars. And I think that they're going to continue to dominate. And then, and in a way, the new manufacturers or the startup-y kind of car companies are adding a layer of flash and excitement that gets people's attention and is actually ultimately helping the major manufacturers market their vehicles.
Okay, well, one last bit, and this goes hands in hand with that autonomous car story. That is BMW at their booth. They have the connected experience. And the whole idea is they sat their engineers down. They said, okay, like you, they think, we've got this autonomous car thing. We know how to make it work. Maybe there's a couple of software tweaks we have to make. But now the question becomes, what do you do when you're in your car that's driving itself? And so they've created this experience that you can get the same information, the same cloud-connected data in your car, in your home, in your office, on your watch, on your phone. Is that the next big thing that goes hand in hand with autonomous vehicles? In other words, once we're autonomous, how do I occupy my time?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think that that's happening now, right? I mean, you see a lot of cars with connectivity, and if you've watched anybody under the age of 20 navigate their day, their expectation is of entertainment and connectivity at every moment of the day. And I sound really old because, for generations, people have been saying kids these days expect to be entertained. Maybe it's not so much entertained as connected. The expectation of connection is there, and I think that it will be less jarring than we think to find something to do in the car, because as passengers, we've already been doing that. And now it's just sort of, well, okay, the expectation is you're essentially a passenger all the time.
Lindsey, thank you very much for speaking with us. Thank you for being part of TNT. Of course, they see you on the TWiT network all the time. You are a frequent guest. But if they wanted to find your work here at CNET, where should they go?
You can follow me at Turrentine on Twitter. And, of course, come to CNET.com because we've got stuff going on here every second of the day.
That's Lindsey Turrentine. I'm Father Robert Ballecer, and if you want to see the rest of the TWiT coverage of CES 2017, be sure to go to twit.tv/specials.